Hello. Welcome to our I have to start again. I forgot how to speak English this time. Hello. Welcome to our movie club. Today we will discuss a movie, The Little Things. And you can see these little things dripping blood at the bottom of our, I don't know, poster. Right? Our picture that's courtesy of Sans. And this movie was suggested by incognito persona. How to say it actually? Incognito, is it correct? Stress? Incognito? I don't know. Incognito. Okay. Incognito. And should I add persona after this, or it's
you could say he is incognito. Yeah, normally we use it kind of like an adjective. He's incognito.
Okay, so I can say incognito person, right?
We wouldn't normally say that. We would normally just say he's incognito. Think of it as an adverb.
Okay, I see. So,
adverb.
So this movie was suggested by a person who was an incognito. Okay. And it was a nice movie. I like it. But I think that movie itself, the story is a bit complicated, right? So, and that's why I wrote a few, I don't know how to call it, notes, right? A few just paragraphs or titles for paragraphs so we can discuss it just in order. But I'm not sure that I did it in right way because I wrote it by my memory. So please correct me if something is wrong.
We are used to your way.
Yeah. Okay, so Vova, tell us about the main characters in the movie, just to know their names.
The main character is Deke. It is
Sheriff's deputy, right?
Yes, but he's in this movie. He's investigating crime with another company.
Okay, so one is Deke. It's our protagonist, right? So played by Denzel Washington. Okay, who else?
Also
Jimmy, right?
Jimmy.
But his full name, I don't remember his full name. Detective something.
Baxter.
Baxter.
Baxter? Okay.
Baxter, right.
Okay, let's call him Jimmy. It's simpler. It's much simpler.
And also Albert.
Who is Albert? So we have protagonist, right? Someone who is a good one in the movie, right? And what is antonym for protagonist? Do you know? Antagonist. It's a good one, right? So we have a protagonist, antagonist, and one assistant. Three, the most important characters in the movie. There are a few more, but I don't think we should know their names, right? Okay, so let's start with the story. Leila, could you help us?
Of course. It was the year 1990, and the film starts with a girl driving her car along a highway, and she was happy, she was singing songs, and she was also driving her car, but suddenly she felt that a motorist was following her. And then she started, just to feel excited and a bit frightened. And then she found a gas station, I think. She stopped there, she left her car, but nobody was there. So she was in panic, and she started running, and the man also came, but you can see his face, only the boots. And what else? She left the gas station, she started running, and she saw a passing truck, and that's how she survived.
And I remember this man that you mentioned, right? We have seen.
I mean, we didn't see his face, but only the boots.
Yeah.
And maybe she saw a bit because the story later. in the police station. There is something happened.
And I remember that when he went out of his car, right? He
But uh-huh.
reached some kind of toolbox and took duct tape from it. Do you remember? Or kind of some kind of scotch, or how we call it?
Gag.
Gag.
Yes, yes.
Also, I have a question. How she realized that he's like chasing her?
Chasing her?
Yes.
Well,
Chasing.
how she realized that he's chasing her?
I mean, well, you can understand if you're driving a car, you turn right, he turns right. Okay, coincidence. Then second right, third left, blah, blah. Everywhere, wherever you go, he's following you. When you stop, that person stops. It makes you suspicious, my love.
Yeah.
And then she understands that there's something strange happening.
And it was during the night, right? So not many cars
Sure.
on the road. Leila, when you drive or when you in the car, do you, I don't know, notice all the cars around? Do you watch if they follow you or not?
My dear friend Ivan, I don't notice anything but I just use my 2 feet, just pressing the brake. I couldn't have the driving license.
Okay. When you go foot, right, to your school or something, do you notice who is following you? Do you pay attention for this person?
Of course, I don't know, but it's the feeling. You feel it. I mean, because Ivan, we're not as strong as men physically, right? So you feel it and you start, okay, what am I gonna do? I mean, it's the kind of feeling that you have to do something. You feel it.
So you always, what's the word for this? Cautious, right?
Sure.
Cautious. Yep.
Cautious. Okay. So I'm asking, because today with Vova we took a walk, how we call it, a boulevard, I don't know, a road around near to the sea, right? So it's a huge road and many people just, walking here. And we were walking there and we, I don't know, walk and stop and chit chat. And at some point, a lady who came kind of behind us, she took me a stare, she probably thought that I followed her or something. And I was confused at that moment.
No, I don't think so. Did you see her before? No.
I did not pay attention. So probably it was not clear from my side, but it was clear from her side, probably.
Different cultures, Ivan. Maybe just, a gesture can be misunderstood.
Yeah, okay. So how exactly, so the gas station was closed, right, in the movie? So nobody was there. Is it right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how girl escaped exactly? So what saved her?
A passing truck, as I told you.
Yeah.
She saw the truck and, she just ran towards it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I was excited as well.
Yeah. So let's call it a lucky event, right? So lucky event saved her, some kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, to me, she was stupid. As soon as I saw that the thing was closed, I would have got right back in my car and drove away.
Actually, I thought I would never leave the car.
Yeah, it's very dangerous. In fact, she could have driven right up to the door of the gas station, looked inside and seen it's closed. There's nobody there. And then just driven on. Yeah, she was stupid to get out of her car because now you got no protection. Oh, man. And then you run into the woods. I would have gone around the back, and when he came around, I would have got back to my car and drove away. But she ran into the dark woods, duh.
Yeah.
Okay, I gave a title to this scene as a psycho on the road.
Psycho.
A psycho on the road. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Right. Gerard, could you help us?
A rural sheriff deputy.
Yeah.
But I think he's a sheriff. Is he on the sheriff or deputy?
I think that his boss was a sheriff, but I'm not sure. So he was a deputy to this boss to this sheriff.
Deputy Sheriff Joe. Okay. So, okay. So this is Denzel Washington, one of the protagonists of the movie.
Mhm.
It looks like from the beginning that he is a demoted deputy sheriff. So formerly he had a better charge. And we find out that he was a detective. Did something wrong, something happened, and he fall in disgrace. He was working in Los Angeles, now he's working in a small town.
Mhm.
And he has to do some errand for his sheriff, and goes to the police station where he worked.
Mhm.
And found this guy Jimmy Baxter that is his substitute. And there is a murder case similar to the one that was the cause that he lost his place.
Yeah, and I remember that there was a term, right, for people who had a kind of a high position, or I don't know, higher position, and then changed it to some low position somewhere, just to escape from the responsibility or something. I remember we called this downshifting. Is it right, teacher Lee?
Yeah, but what happened here is different. He used there's kind of a rivalry between two cities, like in California, in San Francisco and LA or wherever they were. So he was sent to this other detective's city to pick up some evidence, remember?
Mhm.
And while he was there, he met this other detective who had a serial killer case in progress.
Yeah, but now he's in small town. Why? Because he left a big city, right, to be there.
He used to be the best detective in that guy's department in LA.
Yeah.
And he had to leave. Do you remember why he had to leave that department?
Yeah, we will come to this here. So
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
So he didn't really downshift. He was forced to leave due to an event that happened.
Mhm. So, and that's why, because it was forced, we don't call this downshifting, right?
Correct. It wasn't
Okay.
his choice. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Teacher Lee, that part I didn't understand, that was his will, his desire to go back to a small town, or he was forced because psychologically he wasn't good.
He lost his job because of something that happened, so he had to find another job. So so maybe the only job he could find, because of his reputation, only a small town would hire him.
Okay.
So that's why he took kind of a lower level job, because he had a bad event in his background that a lot of cities probably wouldn't hire him.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Vasant, could you please continue our story?
Should I go with the points or just continue the story?
Crime scene, I think you want.
Yeah, so he went to the Los Angeles back, right, to take evidence, and he heard this kind of press conference, right, and he got interested, I don't know, in what happening there, and the guy who was in charge, right, Jimmy, he invited him to the crime scene, right, that happened.
Yeah.
Could-
And yeah, when he went to the crime scene, he tried to analyze the evidences, and he even suspected one guy who was previously accused for sexual offense. So he asked him to interrogate him, and the guy was intimidated by their interrogation room. Somehow he sensed that he will be ended up in jail because the police are trying to frame him for the murder that he didn't commit. He was a good, he committed sexual offense, but later he moved on to the a peaceful life. He never committed any crime after that, but the police suspicion made him to commit a suicide, I think. He committed suicide.
Actually, I don't understand quite well this part, so I'm going to ask teacher Lee. So as I got it, there is a kind of federal list of sexual offenders, right? So
Yeah,
people who was condemned for this, they are in this list forever, right?
correct.
And they have some kind of restrictions, right? You cannot live, I don't know, close to the school, or you can't visit some places or something like this.
Correct. Also, and we've had that happen in my neighborhood, when a sex offender moves to a neighborhood, the police will send a flyer to all the neighbors saying, caution, this man that just moved into this house is a known sex offender. So sex offenders lose their privacy and they become the subject of dislike anywhere they go. So you don't want to be marked as a sex offender.
Vasant, please.
Yeah, teacher Lee, how do they define the sexual offenders? Does it base on any conclusive evidence or just an allegation from the victim?
Well, hopefully there's proof.
Okay.
A sex offender usually is someone that has sex with a kid, with a young boy or a young girl. It's usually a child, someone who has committed a sexual offense with a child, like homosexuality or, sexually abusing a child. So usually kind of a hateful crime. Now, hopefully it's not just one person says, oh, he's a sex offender, and they believe him. Usually there's evidence. You go to court, you're found guilty. Once you're found guilty in court, then your name goes on the list.
But do you remember, it was a kind of, I don't know, irony in the movie. So the accused guy, he said, I'm not a real sexual offender, right? I just pissed in a public place, right? But they say, it's enough, to put you on this list.
If you show your sexual organ to a kid in public, you're a sex offender. I mean, that's all it takes. You whip out your thing and show it to a kid, and if somebody sees you, you're in trouble. Yeah.
Even non-intentionally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we covered this kind of subplot, right? Subplot about sex offender, right? But I mean, do you remember they went to a big building block, right? And there was no electricity, and they started investigate this crime scene. So do you remember this episode, this scene, when they arrived to the crime scene in the building?
Yes, I remember, and the black guy went to the room which located in front of the place where murder happened.
And what I noticed at that moment, this guy, Deke, right, is his name, he started to be a better detective than all of them, right? So he said, murderer went this way and looked on this thing, right? And then he went to another building, right, and found a chair from which the murderer watched through the window, right? So he made more jobs than all them together, right? In one moment. So, and that's how I understand, these the little things, right? So he mentioned that, I can see this and that and that. So it's how I understand this title. Okay, so so they visited crime scenes. We covered the subplot of this sex offender. So what was the next one? The next one, I remember he returned to the crime scene again, right? Alone.
Yeah.
To find some evidence. Leila, do you remember this?
Yeah. I mean, he can see a lot of details. things, elaborately in a way, because he was so careful. He was a very good detective, I think. And he maybe wanted to be on his own to explore the room. But I think he found some small things in the room. And he found a kind of place under the basement, Ivan. I don't remember
it was
that.
later on. No, it was later on. So in this room, in the building block where the girl was killed, he found a few things. First, he found that this girl was moved, right? Relocated after her death, right? He found something in the fridge. Oh, do you remember what was wrong with the fridge?
It was broke.
It was broken. The fridge was broken, right? And it caught his attention, right?
Yes.
And and he talked with this landlord lady, right? There was a landlord
yes.
lady. And so what they were talking about?
That fridge is not about the fridge.
Mhm.
She said that fridge is not working for a few days.
For a few days.
Mhm.
And he asked her, did she call some kind of service to repair this, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
She says, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and landlord lady, she told him about, this ABC company, right? So I called them to come here and fix the fridge, but they never came, right? That was the answer.
Right.
And it was an important clue that bring us to the assassin, let's say. Well, what about the milk in the fridge? What was about this?
Son of this lady took it.
Took it here. I remember that Deke somehow found that the fridge, that there must be some kind of bottles of the beers in the fridge, and somehow he understood this, but I don't get this. How I did not get this. How he understood that fridge was, taken
Broken?
out. Yeah.
Um,
So the fridge was broken, but after the homicide, landlord went to this room and took something from the fridge. And
Yeah,
Deke yeah. How Deke understood this? I don't understand. Yeah, Jeff?
The milk wasn't rotten. If you remember, because the murderer came later. Later the murder, That's the reason why it wasn't rotten, the milk. Because if the fridge is broken, the milk should be rotten. Did you notice that?
Yeah, but I don't quite understand the timing. So does it tell us that fridge was broken after the killing or not?
we don't know anything about it.
No, the refrigerator was broken, but when he came to investigate, there was food in the refrigerator that was spoiled, that was bad, but there was also some food that was not spoiled, as if the murderer had put it in the refrigerator as during his murder. So maybe he put a beer in there and murdered her, and then he took his beer out and drank it or something. So there was evidence that the murderer had maybe put food in that refrigerator during the murder.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember
Something
that,
like that.
Yeah, I remember that there was evidence that murderer he came back again. So it was like second visit of murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so from landlord, we know about this ABC service company, right? And Deke went there. Jacques, do you remember this episode, this scene?
Yes, Deacon took the list of the staff at work. We can see when he leaves, we can see the Sparma, the suspect, the guy that is suspected to be the murderer of the movie.
But why he suspected? What went wrong in this repair company?
I don't remember what's the reason why he started.
Yeah, I think it's again about little things. You know, he asked, "Give me a book with all the orders," right? And they gave them the book, and this call from landlord was marked as cancelled, but landlord never cancels this. So it was a little thing that doesn't fit, right? The situation. Another one, he said, "This order was made like 3 days ago. Why didn't you went there?" And the owner of the shop said, "We are pretty busy here, right? We are quite busy here." But they were doing nothing, right? They were sitting here and playing cards or something. So something was wrong. And for Deke, right, it was kind of a clue. He said, "I need all this, all the names of your workers," right? And that's how they took the name of this farmer, right, of Albert, for the first time. I remember. So again, I'm focused about these little things because we discussed it with teacher Lee in our chat, right? So what is about little things? So I
Do
think
you remember, Ivan, during the movie, Deacon says, "Truth lies hidden in the little things." I love it, and I wrote it on my notice board.
yeah. But it has a kind of practical application, right? So he saw this kind of order book, right, and immediately found something strange, right? So the little things that you can miss. So that was his kind of superpower, if you ask me, right?
What a coincidence! The murder and a cancellation.
Yeah.
Same place. Yeah.
And I think we missed something. The girl that was doing jogging, Rhonda Rathwood, the girl was doing jogging with a guy, and when she was 3 blocks away from her home, someone stalked her, and this girl disappeared. And we can presume that she was murdered, but we never see her course in the movie.
Right, she just disappeared. Yeah. Okay. And let's continue with this, investigation with these little things, right? Do you remember the line with roast beef? Vasant, do you remember this? Oh, Vasant.
No, I don't remember.
Sergey, do you remember this roast beef? Why it's important?
Yes, one lady was a vegan, and when the doctor covered his stomach, she found a piece of roast beef, and she told that she was a vegan, but she didn't eat. She couldn't eat meat because she was a vegan, and they started to they started to discuss about it, and they think that the sparma or killer organized the dinner where they tasted the meat, and lady had to eat meat without her feeling.
Yeah, exactly. So when murderer came back, he brought some food with him, right? His food. And he gave this food to the girl, and nevertheless, she was a vegan, right? She got this roast beef. And I remember also Deke was looking after Sparma, and Sparma went to the diner with the name, roast beef. So it was kind of another clue, this guy for his lunch going to this roast beef, and lady has this in her stomach, right? Some little things again getting connected.
Little things.
Okay, let's go forward. So what about trunk size? Do you remember this funny dialogue during the night? Leila, do you remember?
No, just give me some clue, please.
So at that moment, Deke already had a suspect, right? This Albert Sparma, right? And he found that so they understood that killer must use some kind of car, right? Because all these killings scenes, they were kind of far away from each other. And they said, "We are looking for a guy who has a car or two with a lot of mileage on it." Do you remember this?
Yeah. Deacon
and he went
following him. Yes, watching
Mhm,
him.
mhm,
In
yeah.
fact, Deacon thought that Sparma hasn't noticed that he's being chased, but Sparma is a genius, I think. He found out that Deacon was following him.
Yeah, he was prepared, right? So when Dick went to during the night to look on his car, right? Albert Sparma went here and they had a conversation, right? And Albert was very calm, right? And when
I mean,
Dick
he was
asked him-
making jokes. He was
Yeah,
just, scolding them, right?
yeah. So Dick said, I want to see your trunk size, is it convenient or not?
Yes.
And
yes.
then after Albert recalled this phrase, right? And told him, so what about trunk size? Is it okay or not?
What
So
about
he was
the
very calm, very
relationship?
confident.
What about the relationship with the trunk
But-
size and the murder?
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that police suspected that killer kind of moved this body already, right? So it cannot be a sport car. To transfer body, you need some, car with a space.
Okay.
That's the idea.
So when he asked the suspect, how's the trunk size in your car, he's implying that the guy's carrying dead bodies in the trunk. So he needs a large trunk.
No, another little things.
So the suspect knew that he suspected him. He
Yeah.
knew that Deke suspected him because he asked him about the size of his car's trunk.
Literally, have you suspected Sparma as well?
Initially, no, until the girl identified him.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about this, right? So it was before the how we call it, interrogation. I wrote it incorrectly.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
because the girl saw him before the investigation,
Yeah.
her testaments,
yeah.
we can say, hasn't been accepted.
Yeah, remember the girl at the beginning that escaped? She was a witness. She saw his face.
I know.
guess. I don't know how.
think
Yeah, so
because of his shoes as well, his boots. Because he was
Yeah, but because
yeah.
Well, because he saw a guy, they broke the procedure of police, right? So she saw him in a handcuff, right? So she immediately understands that it's kind of a crime, and it broke the
but
procedure. Police
do you
cannot use them. Yeah.
Do you remember the police asked her, "Did you see him?" And she said, "No, I didn't see his face." But what I'm thinking is that
No, she identified his face from some pictures, remember?
Yeah.
yes, but Teacher Lee, it was before the investigation, before how could you say there was this window, nobody, and I mean the criminals or
Okay.
so-called criminals can't see who's watching you. Do you remember? What
Yeah,
do
kind
you
of
call it? A lineup?
A lineup.
Interrogation room, да? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
a lineup is when they put 3 or 4 people in a line,
yeah.
and you say it was number 3 or number 4. That's a lineup.
I thought it was going to be a lineup situation, but no. So they saw, she saw his photo, but before she was showed the photos, she saw his face with handcuffed and
And recognized him. She seemed to recognize him. She said,
I don't know.
Leila, but the idea of lineup is that they present you 5 people, let's say, that you never seen before. That's the idea. And then you say this one, right? But because they already showed him in handcuffs, they broke the procedure. So
but I'm trying to say that I know that, but I don't believe that she saw his face she only saw his boots when he was trying to tie up his shoes laces. Do you remember? The first thing she saw his shoes, boots,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then she looked at his face.
yeah. So
And what
I
I'm thinking is that I don't know. I don't believe that Sparma. It's not because I like him. I hated him. It's not the killer. Mm-mm.
You forgot
So-
something. You forget something. Do you remember? The guy was on the road. He stopped his car, and she overtook him. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So she had the chance to see him a little bit.
I
Could
don't know.
be.
but I understand what Leila is saying. So I remember that this girl, right, this survived girl, she did not look very confident about Sparma. She did not look. She said, let me see one more time or something. So I don't. It doesn't strike me like she is sure, right?
It's another little thing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about how Sparma felt in the interrogation room, right? So when they asked him questions.
Mhm.
Sergey, do you remember this episode when he put him into the room and asked him questions?
Yes, I remember that Sparma behaved himself very confident, and he played with police officers, and he understood the process, and he showed his hobbies like criminals, like some stories about criminals, and she looked like police officer looks like a mouse, and Sparma looked like a cat, and it was strange.
Yeah,
Actually,
I agree.
And he
He was-
told, please told his guys who looked in above mirror.
Yeah. Yeah, he was very confident, right? He was making jokes. He was kind of a boss of the situation, right? So when they called this secret phone, he said, okay, with pineapple and something else, and pepper, yeah, like you ordering a pizza or something. So, and I was impressed by this, right? So the guy was kind of nerve of steel, or how you call it.
You might not have caught something, but remember that while Sparma was being interrogated, Deke was hiding in
Mhm.
another room behind the one-way glass, the one-way mirror. And he called the detective and told him to show some photographs of his murder victims to Sparma. And Sparma was looking through them. And you might remember that Deke went into the room and then kind of threatened Sparma and made him stand up. And when he made Sparma stand up, he looked down and Sparma had an erection.
Yeah, I remember this.
So he said, look at this guy. He's looking at his murder victims and he's got an erection, He did it, That was kind of circumstantial, but
Yeah, it happened, but I don't know. In my book, it doesn't mean that he did it. In my book,
No.
it does mean that he kind of, I don't know, he has feelings about this, right?
he liked it. Yeah, he liked it.
Yeah, he likes this, but it doesn't mean that he was a murderer in my book, right? So,
Yeah. We call it
Yeah, but-
circumstantial. It's not real proof, but it
Circumstantial.
implies. Yeah, implies. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, good word. Okay, so he was. It was interesting character, right? He was overly confident. I would like to have the same confidence, next time when I will talk to the police. So to be such, I don't know, such a brave guy, right? And they let him go, right? Because they had nothing about him at that moment. So they
Yeah.
had to let him go.
Do you remember Deacon's angry outburst
Mhm.
at the police station? He lost control and he just, attacked him. Do you remember that? Deacon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But
but
I
I
don't
think
think it was kind of. Yeah, teacher, please.
I think that was deliberate to make him stand up so he could see that he had a hard on, see that he had an erection. I think he
Teacher,
kind of,
but you know what I'm thinking? He is mentally ill. He's a psycho. I mean, he's not normal. The way he talks. I mean, I don't believe that he is overconfident. I don't think that. I mean, because of his being crazy makes him like that. So I don't think that he's the murderer anyway.
well,
Okay,
it
yeah.
depends. Yeah.
Okay, so they let him go, right? But they kind of still suspect him, right? And they have very few time before FBI will take this case, right? So they have a very few days, and they decided, to search his home without search warrant. Is it right? Right? Do you remember that?
What?
The search warrant.
They decided to search his house, right, without search warrant.
Okay, yeah, because Deacon told Baxter, what was his name? Baxter?
Baxter, right, Gerard?
Baxter that give me 5 minutes, I will find proof, evidence. And Baxter called this guy Sparma and told him to have a meeting in the bar, but he didn't went with him to talk with him. So Sparma, was suspicious and came back and warned the police. And Sparma had in his room, he couldn't listen to the police with the radio, the police radio, because at this time it was digital. I think now it's impossible because it's digital and qualified. But at this time, I think it was legal to have that, to listen to the police station. And he found newspapers hidden on the floor about the murderers. And I don't know whether those papers were only about those murders or many more, because that's weird. If they only were about these murders, could be the guy. This Sparma could be the murderer, but if there are many murderers, many different crimes, so then we could think that he was that aficionado, some fan of crimes. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't see enough evidence at that time, right, in this house, because of these papers and materials. I don't think it's enough to call him a killer, right, a murderer.
Yeah.
So he can be just, a psycho who is a detective fan or something, in my book.
And the same beer and the same meat, I think, but also the same brand of milk and beer in his fridge. Many small things, but not none of them is important. Is definitive.
Okay, so what was about Officer Down? Do you remember the street?
Okay, yes, Officer Down told the police, so Deacon had to go away from his room.
Yeah, so interesting, right? So when he went to the bar, he understood that it's kind of a trap, right? And he understood that they are probably searching his home. And he just called police, right? And said that, Officer Down in my place. And they immediately went there, right?
And
This
they
guy was
might
brilliant.
shoot to kill, right? They might shoot to kill because now he might be a cop killer they're looking for. Yeah. Bias.
And I remember that he ordered his drink to go, right? So he was on this scene again, watching how police came. So a guy with nerves, right? Okay. So they found nothing substantial, right? So they still suspect him, but they have nothing. I remember I missed something. There was the breakfast, right? The breakfast. Well, do you remember what kind of breakfast it was?
The breakfast.
Below. So Jimmy, right, detective, invited.
Yes. invited Deke to his house
Mhm.
to the breakfast.
And they got known this his daughter, right? His wife, and they kind of building connections, right? So they were close partners at that time, right? Okay, let's go to the right. What I wrote, but how the right? So they both detectives were chasing, right? Sparma, but Sparma was a funny guy, right? He waited bus, he went to one place slowly, so he knew that they are looking after him, and he just torturing them. I think it was kind of a teasing them, right? Well, that's I am, right? I'm doing nothing. I go there and there for hours, and they start to lose their temper. I see. And at one moment, Deke went to the shop, and Jimmy was alone, right? And Albert offered him a ride. Vasant, do you remember this? Vasant, do you remember when he offered him, a ride in his car? Sergey, can you please call this?
I don't remember this moment.
Yeah, do you remember they were both in the car, right? And Deke, he kind of said, I need a battery for my watch or something. I will go to the shop and I bring you coffee, right?
Yes, and when he went to the shop and he met old guy who was trying to buy a coffee, and he very slowly got coins, 40, 50, 60. In this moment, Parma invited police officer to go with him, and he promised to show the place where he covers the body of one girl. And the moment with the suspense, and we understood that now it's the main moment of this movie, because Sparma created the plan where the police officer would play the main character.
Yeah. So my question to you is, why Jimmy? So why he did not invite Deke to this ride?
Because he understood that Jimmy was emotional, and he was young, and he didn't have a lot of experience for cover these emotions that Sparma wanted to play in this moment.
Yeah. So I would say that Sparma can manipulate Jimmy, right, as he wants.
Sure.
As he wanted. So, and he kind of played him, right? Can I say played him? like he was Jimmy was a toy for Sparma, right? So let's go to the right. So
Yep. Oh, it's right here. Dig. Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't here. It was over here. Dig. Oh, darn it. It wasn't there. It was over here. After about 2 holes, I would have stopped. But this guy must have dug, 7 or 8 holes. It's like, my God, you idiot.
Gerard, do you understand why Jimmy did not stop digging? So why he continued?
What it says, did you notice that Sparma could have taken his gun from behind? He was 1 meter or 2 close. He could have taken and killed him. How stupid of him digging all these holes. But besides, this is impossible to dig this amount of holes in even all night long. It's very hard to dig in the hard dirt like this. It's not like the sand on the beach. I don't that only with a shovel. You need a pick. It's very hard work. That it's impossible. Just 1 hole, it would take many hours.
Yeah, and I would not dig with my back to a suspected murderer,
Your gun.
I'd be digging with my face looking at him.
I would point my gun to him and then dig. But
Yeah.
But do you remember Jimmy tried to do this? Jimmy tried to say, Sparma, you dig, but Sparma just refused, right? He was
how to say it? He was stronger, right? He was mentally stronger than Jimmy. He said,
Yeah.
no, you need me. I don't need you, right? So you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I like the part. I like the part how Sparma was overly confident again, right? And he was playing this game, right? Oh, this hill looks very promising. You know, let's dig there. So, or he was teasing him, right, all the time. It was just not teasing; it was kind of humiliation, right? So you cannot protect these girls. How can you protect your own daughters from something? Right?
Yeah.
What's are you with us still? So again, why is the heat? I wrote the heat here, right? Why is the heat happening? What was the consequences of this heat?
When Jimmy hit Sparma,
Yeah.
because he was emotional and he was annoyed because he make two or three holes in the place. And I am tired, I am annoyed, and I am emotional. And in this moment, he didn't control himself, and he.
Do you think he had an intent to kill Sparma? He wanted to kill. He wanted to kill Sparma.
Not.
It was just a coincidence, just on the
Yeah.
spur of a moment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, when he killed Sparma, what kind of choices he had? So what was
He
his
had-
option?
He had several choices. The one choice to cover the body, and the second choice to call the police and to describe the situation. And this is the final of his career. And I think he has two choices.
And what he chose and why?
Because he was young, he was a family, he was ambition, and now his life was broken. This moment, immediately. Before this moment, he was a succeeded man. After that, he was a loser. And it was, in my opinion, it was a difficult situation, and he was frustrated.
Yeah, and Gerard, why do you think Deke supported him in this choice to cover the body, to hide the evidences?
Because something similar happened to him in the past.
Yeah.
But I think in this case, it's, Baxter has more excuse because the guy was, if he wasn't the murderer, he was a psycho, and he provoked him. So it was very different. Deacon shot a girl because he didn't wait to look the person before you shoot. You need to see the person, or
Yeah.
That's a great mistake. But I think Baxter is not the same proportion of mistake, because the guy was threatening him through his family, and he was very tired, stressed. It was a reflex reaction. A shovel can be a weapon.
Gerard, do you think that Jimmy took this decision, or Deke took this decision for Jimmy to hide the evidence?
Deke was the one.
Yeah. So Jimmy was
something similar had, the woman, the black woman from the
the girl. Yeah.
the coroner, I think the coroner.
Yeah. But don't you think that Jimmy, took this decision without Deke, so to cover the body?
No,
Or he would call the police, in your opinion?
I think he would call the police. He wanted to call the police, I think. And Deke made him to change his mind about that.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, hard choices we take, right? Leila, could you tell us about the hairpin situation? So what it was about?
That makes me think a lot, to tell you the truth. After this event, Jimmy was in a terrible situation. He couldn't eat, he couldn't talk a lot, he felt guilty a lot. And meanwhile, Deacon spends the night collecting a lot of stuff from Sparma's house, but we didn't. He couldn't find a lot of things, and the surprising thing is that Baxter, one day later or something like that, receives an envelope in which there is a hairpin, red hairpin in the envelope. This shows that the red hairpin could be belonged to the victim, because it was said that she was wearing a red hairpin. So it was Deacon who decided to calm him down and prove that you killed the right person.
Mhm. But do you understand that it was a fake hairpin? It wasn't for
I
one.
mean, I thought about it a lot because Deacon just searched his room for a lot of times, right?
Mhm.
Why he went there this time? I didn't understand. I thought maybe there's something missing. We missed something. And then I did understand that he did this in order to help Jimmy.
Leila,
I
the hairpin was definitely a fake, because it was shown that Dick bought a few hairpins in the shop.
Yes, different colors. There are 4, but only the red one is not there.
Yeah.
But did you notice something? The second time that they went to check the room, the newspapers were gone, the box, the metal box. So the newspaper was gone. If there was another proof, the farmer would throw it away.
Mhm.
So that is normal. The second time they didn't find any proof. And another thing, did you remember this prosthetic tooth that we found in the box in a moment? Three teeth.
Yeah, I remember.
I thought they got one thing relevant about the bite that was not conclusive. The bite, the bite of the proof because the women were beaten.
Mhm, mhm.
They didn't have conclusive proof, but there was this small 3 teeth, for prosthetic. How do you call that? Which are we?
Prosthetic, a fake foot.
No, teeth.
A tooth, there was
Teeth.
in a house, in a Sparma house, there was a tooth, right? A human tooth as a decoration.
No, I
Oh,
think
okay.
there was some people that have some missing teeth. There was 3 in a row that you put inside your mouth. It's not the total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the end of the story, right? And we have the main question. So was Sparma a killer, or just a random psycho that that liked to torture police officers? What do you think?
What I believe is that in the middle of the film, everybody started saying that Sparma is the killer. So, I mean, usually we will find the murderer or the criminal at the end of the movie in an just surprising way. I said there's something wrong about Sparma, but what I believe he was not the murderer. I may be wrong, but I just was suspicious of Deacon from the first moment.
Deacon, huh? Deacon?
Right.
Sergey, what do you think? Was Sparma a killer that we're looking for?
It's too difficult to answer this question because we don't know some evidence about him. Mostly, I think that he was a killer, but I think he couldn't kill a lot without some details, some part of pieces, some part of blood and knives. It's difficult. I think maybe it's not.
Gerard, do you think?
We forgot something. That some years ago, he admitted to commit a crime, and actually he was 10 miles away from the crime scene.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah. 8 years ago, he went to police department and said, "I killed someone." So he was confession. He did a confession, and he was interrogated, but for the whole day. But then they found that it's impossible that he was a killer. So he just, was playing the police. So he was playing. Yeah.
That's the reason to say that he wasn't the killer, but it could be that at this moment he wasn't, his murder instinct wasn't developed yet.
Yeah.
It also could be that. There's many small things. But I think in Spain, what's the likelihood that the person with so many circumstantial things is not the killer? Too many coincidences, small coincidences in a row. What's the likelihood? Did you use the math?
I missed the fact that he had confessed to a crime that he didn't commit. I missed that. There are people like that. There are people that want to be punished. They're mentally ill, and they will go and confess to crimes they didn't commit. There's people like that. They're crazy.
But I don't think that Sparma confessed to be punished. I think he did it, for training purpose, so just to be trained by police officer, how to contradict the interrogation, I guess.
I think also he's clever, he's clever. It's like a vaccine,
Yeah.
I did that in the past, and the future going to murder someone. So because I did that in the past, the police they're going to suspect me.
So it's kind of making an alibi, right? So it's, the next time they will say, this guy, he's a psycho, right? So
Maybe, yeah.
So I have a real life story about this. In Russia, in Soviet Union, so there was a kind of a psycho serial killer, and he killed a lot of women, and police could not find him for many years. And in fact, it's very hard to find serial killers because they are illogical, they don't follow kind of reasonable motives and so on. And the sad part that police found 5 suspects, and all the 5 suspects was convicted for his crimes before they found him. So,
Wow.
and they had a lot of evidence for all the 5 cases, so it's
Well,
I think there is a movie about this. I think I watched the movie.
probably. Okay, so nice story. I like it. Me personally, I don't think that Parma was a killer, but I'm still, still hesitating. So I would say 50-50. I don't know. Whoa, what do you think? Yeah. And, Vova liked the idea that little things matter, right? Well, and he made an Easter egg, or how we call it. On our picture, Leila, you can find some small little details that were prepared like a message. Take a look. Make a screenshot and take a look when you are comfortable. Okay. That's all about the story, right? We can do some fight. And thank you for the movie. I enjoyed it. So it's kind of thought-provoking. It's not that straightforward. I like it, the suspense, and at the same time, it's not overloaded by details. So 3 characters, a reasonable amount of action. So it was good. I enjoyed it. Chichili, what do you think? Yeah, I know that detectives is not your style, probably, usually.
Yeah, I like Denzel Washington, but I'm not too crazy about cop and robber movies, but it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, that's good enough. Fair enough.
It's okay.
Okay, Sergey, please.
This movie looks like I don't know. Maybe you discussed before me. This looks like a 7.
7?
Yes, 7 movie with Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, and Kevin Spacey about some psycho who killed some body. 7, 10 or 7.
Capital scenes. The 7 capital scenes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, the 7 deadly sins.
Probably I haven't watched it. I
It's
don't.
very good movie,
Wow.
but it's too strong.
It's a
For
class.
Layla.
Wasn't that Morgan Freeman?
Yes.
Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, and Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
brilliant movie.
Yeah, speaking of Kevin Spacey, I read the news that he's not guilty starting yesterday. So probably,
Surprise.
Poor Kevin.
so probably we can see he's in the movies again.
Yeah,
What a mess.
he's a victim of work, people.
But I
Johnny
don't
Depp.
think I don't think that they can uncancel him, right? So it's for forever. So
It probably is. Yeah. That was what, 10 years ago or something? My
Yeah.
God.
No,
how many, George?
maybe 5, but I don't think 10 years. No, they know that the series House of Cards, he couldn't
Yeah.
do the last season. The last season, the protagonist was his wife, but it wasn't the same. They spoiled the whole 3 series was a spoil. To have him didn't have any sense.
And what they're going to do now, right? So when guy was kind of cleared from the accusation, so will they restart the House of Cards? Or what? I don't know.
House of Cards is finished. I don't know.
Yeah,
But John Depp was the same. His wife accused him of mistreating him, and it was the opposite. And the justice said that the trial, he won the trial.
Yeah, at least he won, right?
Yeah.
yeah. Once you get dragged through the mud, it's hard to get out of the mud.
Mhm.
Your hands are forever dirty, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like Will Smith. Will Will Smith ever come back? I don't know. And that was just slapping somebody on stage. That insulted his wife, but he may not come back from that. I don't know.
Okay.
And the liberals like him. Yeah.
Everybody likes Johnny
Yeah.
Smith.
Yeah.
Okay. I started this discussion, but I again feel the smell of strike on my YouTube. Probably. Okay, Leila, could you please start with this picture? Let's discuss something.
Oh, this is the very beginning of the film. I think after the girls being attacked and just getting just alive, going to the police station. This is the detective. On the right is Deacon, and on the left is this which guy? I don't remember.
Yeah, probably we don't know him. But Leila, the most important question: what is Black Angus? Do you know?
Black Angus.
Yeah. It's a music for my ears, Whenever I see Black Angus, I feel saliva in my mouth, My mouth is
Why?
wet.
Could be something eat.
Sergey, do you know what is Black Angus?
Yeah, sure. Black Angus, it's a sort of beef and sort of cold.
Yeah.
And in Russia, it's a very popular sort of beef because we 10 or 12 years ago, some firm bought a lot of cows in the USA, and we started to explore the Black Angus in Russia, and the beefsteak by Black Angus, it's very, very delicious.
But I think it's originally from Argentina, not from US. But I might be wrong. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Usually, do you know about Black Angus? It's popular.
Yes, it's considered a high quality kind of cow.
Yeah.
There are different kinds of cattle or cows, different breeds. There's one kind called Jersey, one kind called Angus, one kind called Holstein. There's different Guernsey. There's different breeds of cows, and some are considered to be a better quality than others. Black Angus is a kind of cattle that's considered to be very good beef for eating.
Wow. I have never heard about it.
And I have never seen Black Angus in Turkey so far.
We don't have it here.
I
We have
put
a lot of oxen here.
Yeah.
I put a link in the chat area. If you go there, you can see the different breeds of cows, and
Yeah.
it shows some pictures. The Black Angus cow is all black.
Yeah.
It is interesting. Black.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not only black, Leila. It has a special kind of type of muscles, I guess, with a fat inside. So it's kind of, you know,
Wow.
yeah, this way. Okay, so and I want my steak again. So I was just because of this picture.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of a diner.
Steakhouse. It is written under Black Angus.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
yes, teacher Lee wrote that G is burnt. Why? I don't know.
Just poor maintenance.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, a real hot spot, so they don't want to spend the money to fix the sign.
Yeah, but it's a very common problem with neon lamps, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a gas, and every small hole will ruin the whole letter. Well,
But this is a film, you know, so there must be a kind of thing. I don't know.
well, they're showing us real America, you know, so we can see.
Nothing is
Okay.
perfect.
So you can see. I mean, I like the type of the restaurant. I mean, so cute, wooden. I think I can see the chimneys on the right,
Yeah.
and I love the roof. And I don't know. What about those? Notice it's a kind of advertisement, I guess. The smelling. I mean, kind of
Yeah.
smoke.
It's
Smoke,
kind of, yeah,
the aroma.
Yeah.
It is. I think it's very strange.
But it's a bonfire. He's cooking something, I guess. He's
Yeah,
cooking something.
yeah.
And this is
Could
a
be the
smell, you know,
smoke.
smell of your
Yeah.
steak.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice, but it's hard for me to talk now because you know. of this,
Are you hungry?
Okay, which one do you prefer, Gerard? What about this one? Gerard, will you?
Yes, I don't remember what's the thing in this one.
It's the very beginning. It's a kind of room for evidences, right? For crime evidences.
Yes. About the girl, the murderer girl.
Mhm. He went there to get some boots, you know. His mission originally, why he went to LA.
Yes, to look to bring some proof or some evidence. But all the people here knew him. But we can see from the beginning that he did something wrong, and that he was demoted or something like this from the beginning. We can suspect that because the treatment towards him is weird. We know that something happened, something not good, and we see that he is a very good detective, and you know, we feel that Denzel Washington was a professional character, detective, but something ugly happened.
Mhm. Mhm.
Can I ask something?
Please.
Deacon came and asked for the boots as an evidence.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, there was a kind of envelope, a yellowish brownish envelope on the table. He looked at something there. What did he do there?
But it's for other cases, for different cases, right? So it's not evidences for his case. And I can see pizzas here, I guess, or some kind of donut.
You are really hungry.
it's a in the middle centerpiece is a donut in the envelope. I can see.
Believe me, this is the first time I have noticed the one.
We have an expression, a brown bag lunch. And you can see on the desk here, there are some brown paper bags.
Yeah.
Those normally contain people's lunches.
Mhm.
So if you go to work and you don't, go out at lunch and eat in a restaurant, if you bring your own lunch, we normally bring our lunch in a brown paper bag. So if you hear someone say, I'm brown bagging it, that means they're
Right.
bringing their own lunch. They're not going out to eat lunch. They've got their own lunch and they eat right at their desk so they can eat
Right.
quick and keep working.
Wow. So, okay, what do we use in Russian instead of brown bag for our lunch?
Brown bread.
So when you bring lunch to your work, what do you use?
We have a canteen. We have a cafe in my building. This is why I didn't take.
You have a cafe? Okay.
Yeah, but I remember when I was kind of poor and I had to get lunch with me to my job, I used thermos for that because in Russia we believe that food must be hot, right? Healthy food is hot food.
Yeah, we have a famous kind of, we call it a cooler, but it's a thermos. It's called a Coleman cooler, and it's about this big, and it's plastic, and you can push a button and slide the top down and get your food out. It keeps cold things cold and hot things hot.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people use those. Yeah.
Now we have a plastic box for lunches, and we have a microwave oven.
Yeah. Things are developed since then. Okay, what I like it in this picture, I like it this desk, which can be adjustable by height or by altitude. I don't know, on the in the middle, so you can move it to make it more. I don't know, alt or how we go.
Height. We call it height adjustable.
Height adjustable. Yeah, I like this. Is my favorite. Because all the desk I have, they're always kind of low for me, and I always put some kind of books under them, and I hate this. Yeah.
So this looks more like a laboratory to me than an evidence
Yeah.
room where you store stuff on shelves.
I agree.
And they're wearing lab coats. A little strange to me.
Yeah. I agree. Okay, crime scene. Vasans, can you talk? Are you with us? Okay, Sergey, so it's for you. Can you please describe this picture?
The room where happened killing, and it's a kitchen. And, we can some boxes for plates, and we can see oven, one table and two different chairs, and it looks like dirty for me, and green and brown. Yeah, I wanted to clean it immediately.
I want to clean it and to paint it, right? To something white.
Yeah.
But not that green, right? So it's kind of terrible color to me. Okay. Anything else? So we can see a fridge on the right, which was broken, right? A kitchen.
Is there blood on the floor?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the mask in the garbage box, I think.
Looks like a Mardi Gras mask to me.
I thought it was a kind of taking notes staff or calendar.
On the left?
I think that's actually a file cabinet or something. It looks like drawers.
Yeah, seems so. We can see three of them, right? Okay, and what is on the right? We can see kind of metal bar. I don't know, curved. How we call it?
Curved. I don't know what that is. Is that a chair or is that something else? I don't know.
It could be.
Yeah, good. Okay, but it looks like a, I don't know how to describe it, but it looks like a kind of a cheap room, right? Because kitchen is kind of combined with living room, right? So could be.
Yeah, that dining room table's for like two people. So it's a small dining room table, very cheap, very poor.
Yeah. Okay, time fly fast. So let me skip many of them and let me. This kind of interesting, interesting subplot that we missed, right? Vova, could you please start describing this picture?
This scientist.
He's not scientist. He's a, how we call it, forensic expert.
I'd call him the coroner, forensic expert. Yeah.
A forensic expert is showing his
Finger.
finger and the paper.
Yeah.
It is similar.
Yeah, but could you please describe why he's doing this? Why he's showing his own, fingerprints?
Because It is similar.
Yeah. Do you remember Detective, right? Detective Jimmy, he went there, right? And said, how many, how we call it, patterns? How many,
How many
Yeah.
points match?
yeah, how many points match between sperma and our fingerprint on the crime scene, right? And he said only 8, let's say, and I need 12 to be sure, right?
Yeah.
And he said, because of these 4 points, I will miss the suspect. So, and what was the counter argument? Do you remember?
It was 11, and he needed 12, so just one.
Just one. Okay, just one.
So
And he said-
so
Yeah.
so Jimmy tried to say that's pretty damn close. I think that shows guilt. And he said, look at this fingerprint. It matches 8 points. Is he guilty? That's me. So he was very sarcastic kind of guy.
But I think it's a very good way to convince someone, right? So he by
Yeah.
example, right? So he was probably it took ages for arguing, right? To describe that it's not enough, but he did it in an effective way.
Yeah.
Layla, do you understand what we're talking about?
Yeah. I'm following you.
Oh, good.
Yes, and I remember it was funny question when Jim asked, "What are you doing, guys? You're not doing that. You're doing nothing."
What are you doing there, right? What is your job? He means, right? And what he answered?
We are making. Like,
We are making you look good in the court.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anything else about the room? Can you find something?
It is very strange devices. I think it is for cups, glass, or
On the left, cases.
We call them
Okay.
binder. We call them binders.
Yeah, binders. You mean Vova means these devices on the
So-
table? Yes, kind of circle designed.
Are those magnifying glasses, maybe?
Yeah, could be kind of a microscope, but with just big lens.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I can see pictures like of some hand and the gun
Mhm. Mhm.
and some rules about
Yeah, how we call it? Materials or handouts, right? Some kind of visual materials about something, some checkpoints, maybe
yes and rules.
rules. Yeah,
Pretty old computer
pretty
for
welcome.
me,
Yeah.
like strange.
Even I cannot say what is on the left. Some kind of printer, probably, but it's very old.
That's a Scotch tape dispenser.
Okay. I see. I thought it's connected to computer somehow, but
I don't think so. Now he's holding a fingerprint card. If
Yeah.
you've ever been fingerprinted, I've been fingerprinted many times. They do each finger individually. So 5 and 5, there's 10 fingerprints, 2 rows of 5. And then they do all 4 fingers at the same time,
Yeah.
left and right
Yeah.
hand. So that's the typical fingerprint card. And they used to use black ink. So then you had to wash your hands when you finish. Now that they have inkless fingerprints, you just press and your
Yeah.
hands are still clean. But that's the old black ink kind of fingerprints. I hate it. And they
Yeah.
take your finger and they roll it from side to side to get a good fingerprint for each finger.
But the change is not the most important change is not the ink. The most important change how we search the library of fingerprints. So before that, people compared fingerprints, looking on them, right? Every set. So nowadays, computer make it like in a moment, right?
Yeah.
Very convenient.
So there's you can read up on fingerprints. There's different kinds of patterns in fingerprints. There's swirls and wavy lines, and the computer they scan your fingerprints into the computer, and it looks for swirls and wavy lines. And if 2 fingerprints match in exact places on all these patterns, they call that points of matching.
Mhm.
And if like 12 points match precisely, then they say that's your fingerprint, you know?
Yeah, that's good. Well, let's call it a day. You know, nice conversation. I'm still don't
Yes.
know who is the killer, but it will be a secret forever. Thank you very much, and we will find another movie in the chat. No, not now. Okay?
Thank you, Teacher Lee. Thank you,
Thank you, Teacher
everybody.
Lee.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.